who haven't heard me preach before, but those who have know I have props. So I have a light bulb and a light and peace. Good morning, family. I want to dedicate my sermon to Reverend Grant Lidd Ford, who died yesterday, and is really a big reason why I am here about to preach to you today. Will you pray with me, please? May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be pleasing to you, God of amazing grace. So happy St. Patrick's Day. Did you know that St. Patrick was not Catholic, but a Romano-British Christian missionary? He was known as the Apostle of Ireland and was given credit for converting Ireland to Christianity. So in honor of this day, and before I get into the message of my sermon, I thought I'd share a story that Tracy O'Connor told me about a couple of friends of hers. So Seamus Finnegan and Colleen Murphy were working at a building site. Seamus says to Colleen, I'm going to have the day off. I'm going to pretend I'm crazy. So Seamus climbs up the rafters, hangs upside down, and shouts, I'm a light bulb. I'm a light bulb. Colleen watches in amazement. The foreman, Sean O'Malley, shouts, Seamus, you are acting crazy. You need to pack up and go home. So he leaves the site. Colleen starts packing her gear up to leave as well. Where the heck are you going? Asked Sean. I can't work in the dark, says Colleen. I'm leaving too. Right, Tracy? During Lent, we may not want to go crazy, but we may want to see ways that we can be more intentional about prayer and being the light for others. So our message today is about lamentation and doubt, but is also about prayer and light. So think of a four-leaf clover. Lamentation, doubt, prayer, light. This week, we continue our Lenten journey of the Spiritual Renewal series with nurturing questions of lamentation and doubt. Questions like, does life have to seem so hard? How do I respond when bad things happen? How can I find the strength to live through the pain? Where can we look in our dark, lonely moments to find hope? Those are some serious and weighty questions. And for some of us in this room, these may be pressing questions now about a relationship, about a recent loss of a loved one, about a health issue, about a job, about a living situation. Difficulties and suffering are not problems from which the gospel provides an escape, but are part of the reality of our human experience. As we prayerfully reflect on our Lenten journey, we know that Jesus too had gone the way of suffering, pain, injustice, failure, doubt, public rejection, and loss. Jesus showed what it meant to lose everything in life and still move on. For the cross was not the end of the story. Jesus, our way shower, can give us new hope and new life in our own present struggles and show us a way to still move on. Number one, lamentation. The definition said that it's a passionate expression or pouring out of grief or sorrow, mourning or regret. A lament is a vital prayer for the people petition God to help deliver from distress, suffering, and pain, and to ask God's blessing and intervention. Did you ever ask yourself, what did I do to deserve this? Or wonder what he or she did to deserve this? Today we are angry and outraged because of the horrific, violent terrorist attack by white supremacists at 2 mosques during Friday prayer in Christchurch, New Zealand. We mourn the 50 people who were killed and keep in prayer the 50 injured. What did they or their families do to deserve this? If you look at the way the world really is, we see that bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. For most people, it's only when they've been undone that there is an opportunity for the mystery of grace to work. My family and I were undone by the accidental and traumatic death of my brother-in-law, Richard, in 2016, and if you were aware. But the mystery of grace brought me through to my ministry today as a hospice chaplain. In the midst of pain, struggle, injustice, it's not always evident how good could ever result, or that our suffering can be transformed into endurance, our mourning into dancing, or our darkness into light. See, I am able to help others at the end of life and in their suffering and mourning because of my undone experience. We can facilitate healing and reconciliation. We can offer comfort in a hurting world. We can become the embodiment of the answer to the question, where God is when bad things happen. We can, and we must. Remember Harold Kushner's book, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. It's often been misquoted as why bad things happen to good people. It is the story of his son Aaron, who was born with progeria, a rare and incurable disease that causes rapid aging. When he was 14, Aaron died of old age. Aaron's illness and death forced Kushner to reconsider his view of God as an all-powerful force who controls everything with a master plan that humans don't understand. God is a power called love, the one who suffers with and comforts the afflicted, regardless of the outcome. In times of trouble, he writes, God does not explain. God comforts. Bad things happen without explanations. There is a lot of pain and suffering in the world. And God is there. In a few minutes, you will be bringing the prayer box forward, and we'll pray over the prayers submitted. Using lament as part of worship is about creating a space for pain and suffering. Number 2, doubt. What does it mean to have doubt? To be uncertain about something. To believe that something may not be true or unlikely. To have no confidence in someone or something. Doubts. We have had them. We may even have them now. While there is much we cannot know, may never know, we can be sure of this. Doubts don't separate doubters from God's love. God's unfailing and unconditional love. Family, never doubt that we are God's miracle and not God's mistake. Amen. That we are uniquely and wonderfully made. Amen. Amen. philosopher Rene Descartes said, "If you would be a real seeker after truth, it is necessary that at least once in your life you doubt, as far as possible, all things." Really tall order. Maybe some of you, like me, doubted if God really loved you as you claimed your identity as an LGBTQI person. You have heard others in the name of Christ deny that you can't be gay and Christian. Ever heard that? In 2001, I had some doubt about joining MCC, having been raised Catholic. My whole family is Catholic. Should I or can I change my faith tradition? I don't think the question and answer was in the Baltimore Catechism. But God had a plan for me. As an ordained MCC minister, I am now an interfaith hospice chaplain, equally comfortable in praying the rosary, Catholic ritual, and reading the Bible. Well, definitely a Protestant ritual. Although we did read the Bible during Holy Week, so Lent. If Jesus spent an anguished night in prayer as he called out from the cross, my God, why have you forsaken me?" then surely we are permitted doubt. But we must move on. I love a quote from Presbyterian minister and writer Frederick Buckner, who said that doubts are the ants in the pants of faith. They keep it awake and moving. It's okay to doubt. Doubts are the ants in the pants of faith. They keep it awake and moving. It's okay to doubt. And then we move on. Let's take a look at our reading from Philippians chapter 3. Philippi in northern Greece was the first city in Europe where Paul created a community. Paul's letter is filled with affection. Paul's message to the community of Philippi was, "Stick with me, friends. Don't waver. Stay on track. Steady in God." He said, "Be imitators of me, and look to those who conduct themselves in the same manner. You have us for a model." Coming from a pagan background with values very different from Judeo-Christian ethical norms, Paul's Gentile converts had a need for models. Paul's offering himself as a model is a reminder that people in all times need models. Reverend Grant is a model for me. In verses 18 and 19, Paul describes those who model the wrong behavior. Their end is destruction. Their mindset is fixed on earthly things. See, they took glory in their shame. Indicates that they took pride in behavior which others would consider shameful or disgraceful. I wonder who now takes pride in behavior which others would consider shameful or disgraceful. I'm not going there today. In this Lenten season, let us recommit and model behavior that is loving and compassionate. We see in our text from Luke the story of a fox and a hen. The fox and hen are natural enemies. Luke speaks about Jesus' lament over Jerusalem and how Jesus wants to love and protect. That fox is the very disrespectful way that Jesus refers to the ruler of Galilee, Herod Antipas. See, a group of religious leaders, the Pharisees, had come to Jesus to warn him to flee because Herod wanted to kill him. Get away from here if you want to live. Herod Antipas wants to kill you, they said. With sarcasm Jesus replied in effect, "Go tell Herod to get in line." He said, "Go tell the fox, I will keep on casting out demons and healing people today and tomorrow, and the third day I will accomplish my purpose." Yes, today, tomorrow, and the next day, I must go about my business. I must do the work. The fox couldn't defeat him. Jesus is like a mother hen who gathers her chicks, her peeps, beneath her wings to protect them. Don't you love the picture of Jesus? Gender fluid, amen? Jesus wants to gather you and me up in his arms also and protect us and care for us. Stuff happens, and we are not alone. In the shelter, we find possibilities. We even sometimes find that our suffering offers wisdom. Number 3, prayer. On our Lenten journey, let's commit to being more prayerful. Under the prayers and praises section in the New Dimension, it states, prayer is at the center of everything we do at MCCPB. Jesus often withdrew to pray to God. Communing with God was a way for Jesus to refocus and get ready for the work he was doing. We pray for courage and strength to do the work, to fight for justice and equality for all, and all means all, to advocate for fair treatment of immigrants and refugees, to raise our voices and speak out against racism, sexism, misogyny, homophobia, transphobia, Islamophobia. This Sunday, we with MCC churches around the globe join in a call for solidarity of interfaith communities. From our denomination's press release, we read, as followers of Jesus, we must speak against the intimidation and murder of people who believe differently. We are called to unite when mosques and synagogues and churches are attacked. It is our moral duty to pray with urgency for those violence to end. Light. Number 4. On our Lenten journey, let's commit to being the light for others, for the peeps. Throughout the New Testament, the followers of Jesus are called to be light in the darkness. We read in John 8:12, again Jesus spoke to them saying, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me, whoever follows me, whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. So what does it mean to be light? It's putting yourself out there, being the voice for the voiceless, working in the food pantry to help those in need of nourishment, volunteering and donating to the Enough for All thrift store to help support the ministries of MCCPB. Okay, Freddie, my donations this morning. It's marching in Palm Beach Pride on March 31st to show pride and to celebrate LGBTQI diversity and this welcoming community. You know, the early church had followers who lamented and doubted. Their journey began in the midst of turmoil, anxiety, and disillusionment. We saw that when they spent time in prayer, communicating with a God of their understanding, a transformation cast light upon their vision and mission. Like our ancestors, we need to know that in our lamenting and doubt-filled times, we are connected to God and that we are loved unconditionally. And when we know that, we that we have and that can transform power over our lamenting and death. We may even find that the pain can deepen our capacity for hope and wholeness and for joy and infinite possibilities. The pain and suffering my family and I endured in 2016 deepened my capacity. Jesus replied, "Go tell that fox I will keep on casting out demons and healing people today and tomorrow and the third day. I will accomplish my purpose." Yes, today, tomorrow, and the next day, I must go about my business, my work. As followers of Jesus, we must go about our business and do the work. We can help others to find hope and wholeness. Luke speaks about Jesus' lament over Jerusalem and how Jesus wants to love and protect us on our journey, as a mother hen protects her chicks, her pigs. As followers of Jesus, you and I, we are called to love and protect our brothers and sisters. We have been given our unique gifts to be a light to others. We will have our lamenting and doubt-filled times. Then we will move on. We must. For we have work to do in our families, in our communities, in our world. Jesus, our way shower, is saying, follow me. Be the light. Love and protect the peace today, tomorrow, the next day. And finally, channeling words of Paul to the community of Philippi, I say to you, my dear family of MCCPD, I love you so much. I do want the very best for you. You make me feel such joy. Fill me with such pride. Don't waver. Stay on track. Steady in God. May it be so. Amen.